Good. You?
Everything's kind of weird in America, man.
Yeah, I was there 3 days ago.
So, yeah, so this is probably pretty timely for us to talk about this because we caught up in April of 2023.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of went through the entirety of your career. We're going to focus this time on the body is only light. So, thank you so much for taking a minute out. This is quite a time in our political and realistic history of both countries. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate you taking a minute out.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think where I want to start here, and I don't want to make what you've artistically created to get politicized, and I don't want to into a political rabbit hole, but it's hard to escape the results of what happened last week and what is being said by this new administration in regards to the aid that they're going to give Ukraine. So, how are you doing? Where are you at right now?
I'm in London for a few days. I have a few shows now. I was in Malta for the summer. I spent 3 months there. And then I went to Canada. So I was on tour. I went to Canada, went to a few days in New York, gave a master class. And now I'm in London. Also have a few shows, and then I'll head back to Ukraine next week. So, I mean, I understand that people many times don't want to politicize things, but I've been having this discussion with quite a few people. It's been coming up regularly, as you might understand. Meeting new people, you tell them, I'm living in Ukraine, whatever, everyone has different views. And I think it's wrong when people say politics and art need to be separated because if you're an artist, if you're a true artist, your art is about something, right? Now, politics is, let's say, art is, in my opinion, is about humanity.
Yeah.
You can't really separate what you do as an artist and what influences you from humanity and from what is happening. And you can see this from, for example, artists that were being oppressed during the Soviet Union. You can hear it in their music.
Yeah.
So if it really means something, it has to be connected to it.
Yeah.
And that is kind of what I wanted to show in in this album, in these tunes.
So, as we look right now, this current administration under President Biden has been really good about giving President Zelensky funds and a lot of support. How true is it that the next administration is going to cut all that off and make this a whole different landscape?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know what is going to happen. I think that there's a huge distinction in general between what politicians say and what they will do. I think that the US could have been more helpful in giving Ukraine the chance to fight. So I don't think it was great, but obviously it was already helpful. Now, I think we can only wait and see what is really going to happen.
But in general, are you more or less hopeful based on the results of last week?
So, sorry, tell me again.
So, based on the results of Trump getting back in, are you more hopeful or less?
Um, I'm hopeful that that what he says isn't actually what he's going to do.
Okay. That's, and so are we
Yes,
collectively in this country. We are in that point right now because
yes.
we, I think America has always been seen as kind of this beacon of not only democracy, but doing things in a way that are helpful on the international stage. And I think that's the thing that makes us nervous here who voted differently than what got the president in. So I don't know, man. I feel for the international community. I feel for where you're at. I feel for where everybody's at. Because at the end of the day, I just want things to be I don't want things to be repealed. I want things to be done for the right reasons. And
Of
unfortunately, I
course.
think, the politicizing of things can get just over the top.
Yes. Yes. So, but I mean, it's very useful for, I mean, when you really get into it, there's the art is useful in making things clear, I believe.
Absolutely.
Maybe a little bit clearer.
Yeah. I think anytime, especially in this country, that we've gone through any level of tumult and unrest, the artists tend to step in and provide a voice because it's not a language. It's beyond a language that can convey that. And on this latest album, you were really clear about conveying a very it's like a testament to the spirit of your country that's gone through this invasion. So talk to me a little bit about what you were hoping for as the end product for this release.
Yeah, so as I wrote in the liner notes for the album, every album um that I recorded, there was something that I was trying to achieve. So for example, in the first album, I was new to composing. So my idea was mostly to show what I want to do with composition. The album before this one, which we spoke about last year, was because I felt I was at a turning point in my my interest in melody, in focusing on melody, and focusing on the instrument really singing and moving away from this thing that I see mostly on social media where saxophonists and other musicians are trying to play a lot and playing fast and being flashy. So I wanted to divert the attention strictly towards can you kind of sing? And that's it. So I think was successful. Even the tunes that were chosen, it was all for that. And now being having been in Ukraine for almost 2.5 years, I believe the goal was very clear in my mind what this was going to be. So I've been going through a bit of a transition where my playing and the way I hear my sound has been transforming.
So what do
And
you
the
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, and the way I structured the tunes. These are all my compositions. So the way I structure the compositions, the fact that is just that it's a chordless trio. So these were all decisions that helped me to bring out the kind of rawness of the situation.
So when someone gets this album and sits down and listens to it, what are you ultimately hoping they get from this based on your vision?
I hope that they can understand that in such a situation, there's still a range of emotions. So the album, the music is not kind of desperate, it's not sad, it's a lot of things. It's hopeful, it's can be also happy because when you're living in the situation, you still see people having fun, you still see people doing everything. And it's just the way things are that you have to continue, you have to go on. These people just go on. Now, I am kind of a little bit distant from it because it's not my country, it's not my nation, it's not my people. I'm there. I feel like I'm a little bit of an onlooker, but still, I've been there for quite some time. I spend a lot of time there, so I see how things happen and how people feel and how they react to things.
So as you mentioned up top, you've been on the road. What's your plan now? Where's kind of this line going?
Yes, so now, this was my first time doing any shows or teaching outside of Europe. So my first show outside of Europe was in Canada, in Manitoba. And now, after staying a few days in London for a few shows here, I will go to Ukraine. I will go to Kyiv, and we're going to launch the album there in Lviv, which is the western part of Ukraine. And then I'll also be moving east of Kyiv, where we'll play some music with the big band, with the Dnipro big band, the Philharmonic. And then some other stuff in Kyiv, where, as usual, I'll be spending time just writing new music, practicing, and hopefully playing as much as possible.
So what's been the response to the live shows that you've played so far? How are the audiences?
Yeah, actually, I didn't play the album that much. We did one show in Canada. We did one show in New York, but it was very quiet, unfortunately. And so now we'll see. On Thursday, we will launch it here in London, and then in Ukraine. So probably in Ukraine will be the most response. I believe it will be like that.
I would imagine being on the road for this long and being away and coming back not only home, but playing this music is going to have to be quite an emotional roller coaster for you.
Yeah, I mean, mostly because it's so tough to travel to and from Ukraine.
Yeah.
So dealing with that has been quite rough.
How do you deal with the logistics of where you're going to be in Ukraine with things that are going on? Like, are there places that people know are getting hit? Is it surprise? How do you live as a civilian in a place that's being invaded?
Well, I mean, in Kyiv, it's a little bit of a different story because now it's quite safe. There's a lot of air defense. The main air defense is obviously in Kyiv because it's the capital.
Yeah.
So what's happening is that kind of things are getting back to normal as much as possible. And there are still attacks like drones at night mostly. So you have to be careful. There are applications telling you where the drones are flying, where they are. And if you see that something is coming nearby, you just hide in the bathroom, basically,
Yeah.
just to be safe. And other than that, you try, I mean, if there are shows, etc., you just have to continue as as though nothing's happening because you need to hold on to that bit of, life that you can have. Otherwise, you wouldn't make it.
Yeah. So the new album, The Body Is Only Light, if anyone wants to pick up a copy, download it, catch you live in your shows, any of the good business in your world, where do they go?
Yeah, so to find out what I'm up to, mostly my Facebook page, just search Carlo Muscat and all my information will be there, all my dates, posts. To get the album, it's mainly on Bandcamp. Uh, they can either find it on my Bandcamp page or on the label's Bandcamp page, Ears and Eyes Records, and it can be downloaded from there. And they can also order physical copies through the Bandcamp page.
Okay.
Right now, we don't have any streaming, just two singles on streaming. So if they go to my Spotify page or YouTube or anything else, they can get a preview of those two singles and then get the full album from Bandcamp.
Excellent. Carlo, this has been great. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking a minute. Travel well. Best of luck with the release and the shows.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Take
Great to see
care.
you. Take care. See you.